Welcome back to another Saxton podcast. It is an ugly week weather-wise. How you doing, Deuce?
In the doldrums. I think we went back in time. Just trying to get through the week at this point. Tomorrow, March Madness starts, St. Patty's Day Friday, so I can see the horizon.
It does feel good that we have that to cap the week off because it does feel like January.
It really does. Today is one of those days where it's dark. It's winds blowing 40 miles an hour. And it just can't turn the heat up high enough.
Well, I don't know if the Bear or Davy Trump are going to get to hear this. They are buried in snow. But happy shoveling to them.
A lot of sore backs. Maybe Davey will finally get some calluses on those hands of his.
Well, we'll start with Bay Hill before we get into the brackets. Your thoughts as we're a day away from Bay Hill?
To me, this is the fifth biggest tournament of the year, maybe the fourth. It's probably bigger than the PGA this year. They've already done some very cool things. A lot of players paying tribute to Arnie, different things, shoes, clothes. They had a little ceremonial tee shot this morning where they went down in a line, basically the whole length of the teeing ground, and they had Arnie's cart that he usually sits in. They had it set up there, so it's pretty cool. The course is supposedly in the best shape it's ever been. They kind of tried to get it in TV condition, which means it's going to pop. It looks like it's playing long and soft. It's been wet, so I would expect you to see long hitters, kind of head up the leaderboard like it seems like almost every week these days on tour.
So you're leaning towards the big hitters as the advantage this week?
Yeah, I am. The rough looks thick. They had to cut it apparently, which they usually don't do this week. This is one of those weeks where I think motivation will be there. You know how in majors the cream kind of rises. I think this week we're going to see that just because of what it will mean to be the champion this week.
What kind of weather were they looking at for the weekend?
Chilly tomorrow, for Florida especially. The morning wave, I think you might see some snow hats, some beanies, maybe some turtlenecks and scarves from the Euros. The morning wave is going to be playing in the mid-40s, basically. High of only 52, so chilly tomorrow. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all in the 70s. Sunshine, though, throughout.
What kind of winning score you think we're looking at?
There's still 4 par 5s in the course, so even with it being soft, I still think you'll see, low double digits. It's still a tough track, but you do have to make birdies to win. I'm going to say somewhere low double digits will win.
Guys you would recommend avoiding this week?
Avoiding? Well, since I'm going long hitters, I would say avoid some short hitters. There are a couple guys that have had success, Francesco Molinari, Zach Johnson. But other than that, if you look at the leaderboards the last 5 or 6 years, not a ton of short hitters up there, so I would just say generally avoid them.
Guys you are considering, and then ultimately your pick.
Yeah, obviously the big names I think are all going to fare well. Rory, Jason Day, Henrik Stenson, all those guys I think will be up there. If you're putting it to me, Fowler I also like. I think Henrik Stenson is the guy this week. Comes in off a top 10 at Copperhead. He has 4 straight top 10s in this event. He's a combined 50 under par the last 4 years. So obviously he likes the place. He's a great long iron player, which is kind of needed this week. And I think you'll see him use that missile launcher of a 3-wood the entire week.
The last time you gave out a pick was a winner. So let's keep it going.
This sort of feels like that. I feel good about it.
Anything else in the world of golf before we get into the madness?
Nothing new, no. No news on Tiger. We're just leading up to Augusta now.
All right, well, we'll touch back next week on golf, but let's get into March Madness. We'll go region by region. We'll go over the lines, give out our officials. Let's start in the East. Your overall thoughts on the East bracket.
This to me is a top-heavy bracket. I will say, though, I think Nova, as the top overall seed, got screwed. I think they have the strongest 2 seed in Duke. Obviously the most talented. Maybe you could argue strongest or not. But other than those 2 teams, kind of some scary mid-level teams that aren't playing very well. Wisconsin is not coming in playing its best. Florida has not played well of late. And Baylor is prone to being beat by almost anybody. So I kind of think it's a clear 1-2 bracket.
Other than Villanova Duke, do you see anybody else who could surprise and come out of this region?
The team that I kind of like is SMU, just because they have multiple scorers. They have one guy that can kind of take over a game. But I'm not sure if they could win 4 games, especially they would have to go through Duke and probably Nova. A couple of very good defensive teams, Virginia, Wisconsin, but we've seen in years past, it doesn't really translate into the tournament. You have to be able to score. Virginia specifically, they only have one capable scorer. Just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me. It kind of scares me.
Any of the higher seeds go to the Sweet 16?
I have pretty chalky Sweet 16. If there was one team that would surprise, I'm not on it because it seems to be a popular public play, is UNC Wilmington. But they have really good guard play, and they can score at 4 different positions, which I really like come this time of year. So if there was one of the high seeds I would pick to win 2 games, it would be UNC Wilmington.
The best possible matchup in this region, if you could sign up for a game right now, is it any?
No-brainer. Nova Duke, right?
Nova Duke in the Garden would be.
I would love to see that matchup. There would be some awesome guard play in that game.
This will be the first time on Thursday that Nova won't have the best guards on the floor.
That's true. That is true. They're going to have to deal with a couple of combo guards under 6 feet tall.
While we're on the topic, do you have any idea what the New Orleans coach was thinking last night?
Well, there was multiple things. I'm not sure what he was thinking. His pregame meal looked to be rather large. I don't get maybe he didn't coach up the players in the end, but I don't get the foul. I don't get the lack of foul, letting Mount St. Mary's hold it. I don't get allowing 2 players to choke each other. A lot of things I didn't get.
Ultimately, who do you have coming out of the region?
I have Duke coming out. Maybe it's recency bias, but I like their ability to go inside and outside. I think Kennard and Allen is a good combo at guard, and then I think just they have a deeper, more talented roster than Villanova.
If Grayson Allen doesn't play well, can Duke still come out of the region?
That's a good question. I do think he needs to play well. I still think they have enough players, even if he doesn't, to hang around, only because I think Nova is in a similar position with Josh.
Agree.
Whereas if Chart doesn't play well, I'm not sure Nova can advance.
I agree with you. Well, let's get into the individual games as far as the odds go. Tell me if anything sticks out to you. In no particular order. We'll start at the top. Villanova, 27-point favorite against Mount St. Mary's Thursday night, 7 o'clock in Buffalo.
I actually like Nova. I'm not sure the Mount has the horses to stay within this game. I'd also like the over, I think.
Over is 133.5, and I agree with you there. I do like the over. I'm on the other side, though.
I think that's your homerism coming into play.
I think Nova's going to struggle early. Do you think for the 16 seed Mount and then whoever wins that 16 seed game tonight, there's any advantage to getting a game under your belt?
Well, yes, I do. Their leading scorer, Elijah Long, looked very nervous. He didn't score until like 6 minutes left to go in the game. So now that he has that under him, obviously, it can only help.
Wisconsin, Virginia Tech. Wisconsin, a 5.5-point favorite in the 8-9 game. This game is being played in Buffalo as well.
I was pretty surprised to see the line that high. It's kind of a middling line, which I've never liked to play on. I think the play here for me is that Wisconsin always seems to be able to get teams to play to their speed. Virginia Tech does have some good guards, but I think I like the under in this game.
That would be 137.
That went down a little bit. I thought it was 138, but I still think I like it.
Wisconsin is such a sharp team that I think that they're kind of tempting you to take Vatek with that 5.5. I lean Wisconsin, but that's all it is a lean.
Me too. That's where I lean too. I just can't see them. Bronson and Nigel Hayes, they're seniors. I can't see them losing in the first round.
I do like Buzz Williams though in this game.
I love Buzz Williams as a coach.
Moving right along, first game that will tip us off tomorrow, 12:15 in Buffalo. Notre Dame, Princeton. Notre Dame 6.5-point favorite. It opened at 7.
I don't understand the love for Princeton. They're a good team. I don't think they're as good as an Ivy League team as usually, or has been the last few years. Kind of a strange line. I like Notre Dame.
They're another team similar to Nova that always gets out of the gate sluggish in the past couple of years. I kind of lean Princeton, but there's too much public love for them for me.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I lean Notre Dame. I also like the under in this game. I think this turns into a half-court, low-scoring game, but I just think Notre Dame has better shooters, and obviously they have a couple of mismatches down low with versatility that I like.
That game was actually out of the East region. But anyways, moving right along. Virginia against UNC Wilmington. Virginia 7.5-point favorites. This is a 12:40 tip in Orlando.
Virginia obviously is a great defensive team, but in this one-and-done situation, I like teams that can score from multiple spots. I like teams that can fill it up. I am going to take a shot here, and I know it's sort of a public play, which I don't like, but I'm going to take the 7.5, and I like Wilmington.
Official.
You're on it, yeah.
I do like Wilmington as well. They're a good shooting team. You have to shoot well to beat Virginia. Virginia doesn't score a ton. I think Wilmington gives them big issues.
Me too. This is a bad matchup for Virginia. I actually would rather Virginia, if I'm a Virginia fan, be playing Florida. I think that's a better matchup for them. Wilmington's a tough one here.
Wilmington plus 7.5 official. Moving right along with Florida, the 4-13 matchup. They go against East Tennessee State. They are a 10-point favorite. This line opened 11. In many spots, it is dropped. 3:10 tip-off in Orlando.
Eastern Tennessee is getting a lot of love. This is one of the most popular underdog plays, which usually means I'm going the other way. I think this is the second most popular upset pick. I know Florida, they haven't been the same since John Igbanu went down with a torn ACL last month, but they're still a far superior team talent-wise. I think this is an up-and-down game, high-scoring. I don't have a lean with the spread, but I think Florida wins sort of comfortably.
Yeah, there's too much East Tennessee State public love for me, so I don't have a lean either way in this one. The 6-11 is yet to be set. SMU waiting on an opponent. So we'll move along to the 3-14. Baylor, a 12.5-point favorite. This game is Friday. They are against New Mexico State. This game is in Tulsa.
outright upset. I like New Mexico State. I think Baylor is one of those lackadaisical teams. I don't know. They don't seem like a 3 seed to me. I think they should be more like a 5 seed. And New Mexico State is a winning team, 28-5. I like them with 12.5. I actually think they have a shot at the upset.
I'm with you. I think that this is a great matchup for New Mexico State. As you said, Baylor's going to turn the ball over. If they get off to a bad start, that's when they get in trouble. If they get out to a great start, though, then it's probably an easy cover. But I think New Mexico State is going to get them to play their style. They're not going to turn it over, and this is a game with 2 minutes left.
I totally agree, and I could not agree more with you about the beginning of the game. If New Mexico State is in the game for the first 15 minutes, then it's going to be a game the entire way.
Official.
Yeah.
New Mexico State plus the 12.5. South Carolina Marquette, the 7-10 matchup. This game is in Greenville, North Carolina. The line on the game is South Carolina minus 1.5.
I went back and forth on this one. South Carolina was a really good team earlier in the season. Marquette can score, though. It's kind of a matchup of two different styles. I did see a stat. Marquette, when it was held below 70 points, 0-5 this year. So this game will be dictated by tempo. I have South Carolina in my bracket, but I'm not sure I have the cojones to take them as an official play here.
Also lean South Carolina. I think Frank Martin's a great tournament coach. I do think that they're going to get Marquette to play that slow defensive style. It goes right into your stat of the 0-5 under 70. I think they're held under 70. I think South Carolina wins this game.
Let's do it.
Minus 1.5 or under 145.5?
I'm on either or both. If you want to do a parlay here, I'm good with that.
Let's put a check mark and we'll go back and decide at the end.
All right.
We'll do something though.
All right.
And then the last game of the region, the 2:15 Duke against Troy, 7:20. This game in Greenville. Duke minus 19, open 19.
I don't have any play in this one. I think Duke wins right around the number. The tough thing about these games is always, if Duke gets up 25 early, I hate waiting for the back door. I think Duke comes in focused, ready to play, unlike years past. So pass for me in this game.
It's a pass for me as well. The one stat I did see, if you want to back Troy, is 2 seeds favored by 18 or more are 1-7 in the last 2 years in the tourney.
Interesting stat
I
there.
have Villanova coming out. You have Duke coming out of the region?
I do, yep.
Let's go across the way to the Midwest where Kansas is the 1 seed. Your thoughts on this region?
This is, I think, well, I guess you could argue the South too, but to me this region is pretty strong. Kansas is a good 1 seed. I think I have them as the second best team, other than Nova. I guess you can make an argument with Carolina. But this team has a couple of teams I wanted to really like. I wanted to like Louisville and Oregon a ton. Oregon, obviously, with the Boucher injury, really hurts. But there's some dangerous teams in this region.
If not Kansas or Louisville, who to come out?
I guess I'll still say Oregon. I love Dylan Brooks. I hope he's a Washington Bullet next year. I think he's one of those guys that can take a team and win a couple games. They also have a couple other scorers. They shoot the 3 well. Injury down low hurts, but I don't think it should affect them until they do run up against a team like Louisville.
It's easy to say Kansas-Louisville as the best matchup for the region, but do you see any others that you would love to see?
I would actually, I'll go way under the radar. I would love to see a Nevada-Vermont matchup. Both like to chuck it, and those to me are the best type of games, especially when you get the lower seeds like that. Playing against each other, there's so much fire and passion. I love to see two shooting teams like that play each other.
Any of the top seeds, can they go a couple rounds? If so, who?
The popular one is Michigan. I don't know. It seems like the tournament teams that come in hot and have to win 4 in 4 days like that never pan out. So I'm going to say no, actually. There is not a higher seed that can make a run in this region.
Team you have coming out?
I have the Kansas Jayhawks. The size, the guard play, and they're just so deep compared to the teams in this region. I wanted to do Oregon, but I just don't think they have enough guys.
I'm going down the region to Louisville. I have them coming out.
Interesting.
Well, let's get into the odds. Kansas still waiting for their opponent, so we don't have odds there yet. Miami, Michigan State. This is a Friday game in Tulsa. Miami -2. Open -1 up to 2.
I have Miami in my bracket, but to me this is just a toss-up game. Both great coaches, two of my favorites in Izzo and Larinaga. I would, slight lean to Miami because I think the public is on Sparty, and I just think Miami's a better team this year. But no love from me.
Yeah, I lean Sparty as well just because it's March, but they have not played well this year. I don't know if they have the horses to make a run. Can either of these teams give Kansas fits in round 2?
I actually think Kansas got a great draw just for this game. I think their first 2 matchups are fairly easy.
5-12 matchup, Iowa State, Nevada. This is a late game Thursday. The line on this one is Iowa State -6. It's opened right around there in most spots.
I like Nevada. They're a very good defensive team. Iowa State is one of those frenetic teams that like to shoot the 3. If they come up against a team that defends the 3 well, I think they could be in trouble. I lean Nevada here, maybe outright upset. That's who I have in my bracket.
Official.
Are you on the
I do like Nevada. I have too many bad thoughts of Iowa State in the tournament.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I can't remember if it was Hoiberg's last year or what. I picked them to go to the Final Four, and I think they lost in round 1.
That's correct. To RJ Hunter, I forget what team he played for. His dad was the coach.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He hit a shot from basically half court.
Yeah, you're right.
So we have Nevada plus the 6.
Yes.
4-13 matchup, Purdue, Vermont. This is a Thursday night game, 7:25, Purdue -9.
People are going to see that -9, and I think the public, I'm not sure what the number is, I think they're going to be on, I have it here somewhere.
It's about 60-40, Purdue.
Okay, but the line is going up from 8.5 where it opened, I believe.
Correct.
Which tells me sharp money is on Purdue. So that is where I lean. I like Purdue. Vermont's a great story. I really want to like Vermont, but they're a small team. They're not very deep. If they're not making threes, it's one of those situations where the game can get out of hand, and they might go down by 15 plus. They struggled with Albany, too, in their championship game.
I like the under 135 in this game. I also wanted to lean Vermont. Purdue, I think, is going to win this game with too much size inside.
Yeah.
But they play the slow tempo type games as well. And Painter's not a great coach in the tournament. I think they're 1-5 against the spread in their last 6. So I have a slight lean Vermont, but like the under more so.
Fair enough. I'm not sure if I like it enough for a play.
No, I don't love it that much. 6-11 matchup should be a good one. Creighton against Rhode Island. This is a Friday game in Sacramento. Creighton, this is a pick'em. Creighton opened -2. It's down to a pick'em.
Wow, 6-11 down to a pick'em. I've gone back and forth on this one because 73% of the public is on Rhode Island. I know Creighton hasn't been the same team the second half of the season, but seems like a good contrarian play. But I'm not sure. Once they lost their point guard, Maurice Watson, they've lost the majority of their games. The problem is I haven't seen Rhode Island play that much, so I'm not totally sold that that's the right play, especially with the public on them.
Yeah, this should be a good matchup of coaches with Hurley and McDermott. I lean Rhode Island, but the public scares me off of it.
Yeah, me too. I want to like them. 74% on an 11 seed is a lot.
Yeah. I do think, though, if they get past this game, I think they could give Oregon trouble and may be able to go 2 rounds.
I agree. They match up well with Oregon specifically.
Speaking of Oregon, they're also a Friday game, 2 o'clock tip. This game is in Sacramento as well. Oregon -14.5. It opened on the same number.
I love Oregon as a team. I don't like this line. I thought it would be more around 11 just because Iona has a little bit of name to it. I love Oregon's offense in this game. Iona can score, though, so I would like the over. I'd lean Oregon, but 14.5 is a little too rich for me.
Also like the over in this game at 151. Official.
Yeah, I'm good with that. They both like to score. And I don't think Oregon has a problem not playing defense. I'll put it that way.
So we got Oregon Iona over 151. 7-10 matchup, another interesting game. Michigan, Oklahoma State, 12:15, first tip on Friday in Indianapolis. Michigan -2.5.
I am going opposite here of the hot team. Michigan comes in with all the momentum. After a couple days off, though, I think that stuff kind of fades away. Public all over Michigan, 73%. I'm going the opposite way, just on the numbers. Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's a very good shooting team. I think they slow Michigan down here. And I'm banking on Michigan not staying hot.
Official OK State.
You like them too?
I think they may be one of my favorite plays in round 1.
Official from me.
OK State +2.5. Everything you said, I think going back to Michigan after that 4-game stretch and everything they went through last week, they have to come down off that high. And now to try and ramp it back up, I think it's going to be tough.
Yep.
Last game in the bracket, the 2:15, Louisville against Jacksonville State. This is a Friday game in Indianapolis. Louisville -20.
No feel here from me. It's kind of similar to the Duke matchup with Troy. I mean, you could probably talk me into a Louisville bet, but I don't want any part of it, really.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have any lean. So you have Kansas coming out. I have Louisville. We'll jump down to the West where the Zags are the 1 seed. Your overall thoughts on this bracket?
To me, this is a brutal bracket. Gonzaga got some really tough teams in this region. The 2 seed in Arizona is very strong. They lucked out a little bit with Florida State as the 3. Florida State, to me, has not been very impressive lately. But the 4 and 5 with West Virginia and Notre Dame, very tough. Very tough region here. I'm fairly upset that the Irish and the Mountaineers are in the same region.
I agree. Notre Dame is the most glaring, other than maybe Wichita State, underseeded team in this tournament.
You thought they should be a line higher or 2 lines higher?
I thought they were pushing maybe the worst 3 seed.
Yeah, to me, they're better than Florida, Baylor, Florida State, and that's just off the top of my head. Maybe Purdue.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on all those. I think they're also better than Butler as the 4 seed in that region.
Probably, yeah. I don't remember Butler's numbers. I know they were strong resume-wise, but, Notre Dame, toughest conference, good wins. Tough to argue.
Who comes out if it's not Gonzaga, Arizona?
I have the Irish coming out, actually. I know I just said I don't like the hot teams, but the Irish are playing well. They shoot it well, and they do not turn it over. And I love Mike Bray in tournament time, so that would be my pick, and is my pick.
Well, I have them to the Elite 8, and then I have Arizona beating them, Arizona moving on. Any Cinderellas here that could go a couple rounds?
Cinderella, I could see St. Mary's making some noise on that bottom half. I know you like Zona, but I think St. Mary's has the grittiness to give them a game. And obviously, if they did somehow beat Arizona, I think they would actually be favored versus Maryland, Xavier, Florida State, or Florida Gulf Coast.
Matchup that you would most look forward to in this region? Yeah, I agree. That would be great if we can get that.
Nova Duke, West Virginia, Notre Dame would be my 2 dream matchups.
I'm completely with you. We'll start with the Gonzaga South Dakota State matchup. This is a Thursday game in Salt Lake City. Gonzaga opened as a 22.5-point favorite, is now 22.
Pretty reasonable line, I think, for a 116 game. The Jackrabbits do have one of the nation's best scorers, and that tempted me to lean South Dakota State, but the Zags are just so big and deep. Maybe the biggest, deepest team in the country. They're top 12 in offensive and defensive efficiency, which is an unbelievable stat. So I can't do it. I can't pull the trigger on the underdog here.
Nah, I can't either. I do think there's a ton of pressure on Gonzaga, though, this year. If they don't get to the Final Four this year, I don't know if they ever will.
I agree. If you were erasing conference tournaments that are all in the minds of everybody right now, I think Gonzaga is the best team top to bottom if you took out the tournament.
I'm with you there. 8-9 matchup. Northwestern finally punches their ticket. This is a Thursday game. 4:30 tip in Salt Lake. Vandy, 1.5-point favorite.
I'm on the Bryce Drews here. I think Northwestern, great story, good for them. But I think they're going to come out tight. There's not necessarily pressure on them, but I feel like they're going to play like there is. I don't love picking SEC teams this year just because the conference was so bad, but I think you're getting some value here with Vandy only giving a 1.5.
Official?
Yeah, I was hoping you agreed with me on this one.
Yeah, I love Vandy. This is there's 3 games I really love. OK State was one, Vandy's the second. I love one more in the South region, but yeah, I love Vandy in this spot.
Yeah, I do too.
So Vandy minus 1.5. We already touched on Notre Dame, Princeton, more of a stay away. 4:13 West Virginia against Bucknell. This is a Thursday game. It tips off at 2:55. West Virginia minus 13.5.
is one of my favorite teams. The issue with them this time of year is they struggle to shoot the ball. They struggle to score sometimes. But that press, I just can't see how it doesn't wear a team like Bucknell down eventually. I don't want to lean either way here just because I think Bucknell can hang around if they don't turn it over. But I think eventually they are going to be forced into turnovers.
Yeah, I'm with you. West Virginia, I loved them 2 weeks ago. Watching them a little bit closer, their offensive scoring worries me.
I know.
It seems that way the past couple of years with Huggins. But if they find ways to score, they're going to give teams trouble. And
if they go on a 2-week heater shooting the ball, they could beat anybody.
They could win the tournament.
Yes.
So I don't have a feel for this game. I can't go either way. But let's say that West Virginia covers the 13, Notre Dame covers the 7. What's that line on Saturday?
Let's just say they both win. Let's say West Virginia wins by 15, Notre Dame wins by 10-ish. I think the Irish will be favored by 1 or 2.
That would be very interesting odds.
I think.
Yeah, I hope we get to see that.
If West Virginia wins by 30 or something, then they'll probably be favored.
And either team favored by more than 2.5?
No, I don't think so. I think you'd be giving too much value away.
6-11 matchup. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. This is a Thursday game. Maryland Xavier 6-11 matchup. 6:50 tip in Orlando. Maryland minus 1.5.
I am. When it first came out, I thought this was a great draw for Maryland. Not the region, but the actual first round matchup. Maryland is a bigger team. I think they have the best player on the floor in Melo Trimble. But once Xavier lost their point guard, I can't remember if it was December or January. They kind of fell off the radar to me. Terps usually win one game when they do get in the tournament. This will probably be a very close game because that's what Maryland does. I think they'll have if they don't turn it over and they can make a couple threes, I think Maryland wins by 5 or 6. So I'm leaning that direction.
I like the Terps here. Even though we were on them last week and they lost outright, I thought that was the best thing that happened to them, especially with Northwestern kind of pushing them around. Maryland looked pretty soft. I don't think that anything could have happened any better for them, especially with this matchup. And you hit it right on the nail. Xavier's going to miss that point guard in this matchup.
Yeah, this is exactly the matchup Melo Trimble probably wanted. The only thing that worries me is Mark Turgeon in this environment, because he is a terrible X's and O's coach.
I agree. That's what's keeping me from asking for the official.
Yeah, let's just say I like and you like, but I'm not ready to put our skin on the line for them.
3:14 matchup, Florida State, Florida Gulf Coast in Orlando. Should be an interesting game. Up-tempo. This is a 9:20 tip, Florida State minus 12.
The big number, and I know people are on Dunk City. And I was tempted when it first came out. Florida State, I do not like. I was hoping that they would have a different matchup here so I could pick an upset. Florida State's big, though, and Florida Gulf Coast does not shoot threes, at all. So they're going to be trying to push the ball to the hoop, which plays right into Florida State's defensive strength. So stay away from me, I think.
I agree with you completely. Watching Florida State last week in the ACC tournament against Notre Dame, that was the exact thought I had. If you are a slow-it-down team that can shoot well, you will beat Florida State fairly easily. But if you're going to try and play the athletic, up-tempo style, you're playing right into their hands.
Yeah, I know our colleague, Tundra Dan, he has picked the upset here. So maybe he's on to something, but I would much rather see a smaller, three-point oriented team doesn't turn the ball over than Florida Gulf Coast.
Maryland or Xavier beat Florida State with that style?
one I would pick, actually.
I'm with you. 7-10 matchup. I think this is kind of flying under the radar. It should be a pretty good game. St. Mary's VCU in Salt Lake Thursday. Line on this one is St. Mary's -4, 720 tip.
I like St. Mary's in this game, especially because the game is out west. I like St. Mary's ability to play defense. I like their ability to rebound. VCU is a great story. They've played really well with Shaka's departure. But I don't think this is a good matchup against St. Mary's. Best rebounding defensive rebounding team in the country, I think, other than Gonzaga. So I think this presents some challenges for VCU. They're going to have to shoot lights out, I think, to win this game.
That's where I struggle. I leaned VCU, but I don't know if they can shoot it well enough. So I don't really have a play in this game. But I want to like VCU. I just don't think I can pull the trigger.
Yeah.
2:15 matchup, Arizona, North Dakota. This is a Thursday night game. Arizona is -17, 950 tip.
I like the late tip for Arizona. Playing in their time zone, they won't have to adjust, really, so they are already used to this. The line has gone down slightly, even though the public's on Arizona, but this is one of those first-round matchups I could see being a blowout. I think Arizona has just too much athletic ability for this game to be close.
I'm with you. I don't know if I like laying the 17, but I think
It's not our style. We don't bet on good teams or big lines.
Yeah, I don't think they have any trouble Thursday night.
Yeah.
So I have Louisville coming out. You have Notre Dame. Let's move to the last region. Your overall thoughts on this?
The most boring region to me, and I think UNC got a fairly favorable draw here. There's not really a team that I like in this region other than them. There's a couple good offensive teams that could get hot, Kentucky, UCLA, but, you know, Butler is really the only team that presents a defensive challenge in this one.
Any Cinderellas go a couple rounds here?
I know it's the most popular one, but Middle Tennessee State is the one that sticks out. I guess you could say Wichita State since they're a 10 seed, but they should be more like a 6 seed in my opinion.
Who do you have coming out?
I have Carolina, just by default, just because it's more of a dislike for the other teams in this region.
Your thoughts on Kentucky?
Sure, they could come out. The lack of consistency, though, is worrisome. If Monk doesn't score 20 plus, they're going to lose to anybody.
Is UCLA flying under the radar here?
I do like UCLA, especially offensively. I mean, they can really score. Lonzo Ball's my favorite prospect in a while. They just don't play on the other end of the floor, and I don't think they care to. They can score on anybody, but, if someone punches them in the mouth, I would start to worry.
I agree. I also have North Carolina coming out here, as much as I hate to do it with Roy Williams.
I know.
But I think if there's chaos in any region, this is going to be the region.
Totally agree. I could see one of those years where you have multiple higher seeds playing each other in the second round.
I completely agree. So we'll start at the top. North Carolina, Texas Southern. This is a Friday game. And this is a 4 o'clock tip in Greenville. North Carolina -26.5.
Huge line, but I think if there is a side, I'm going to stick with the team that can put up 100 in this game.
I'm with you. If we're gonna make a 1 seed official, this would be it.
Yes, exactly.
but I'm not going to do that with Roy Williams.
No, I just out of principle, I don't want to do that.
8-9 matchup, 1:30 on Friday. Seton Hall, Arkansas. Arkansas -1.
I have absolutely zero feel for this game. I filled out a couple brackets for a couple different pools, and this ends up being the last game I pick almost every single time.
I like Seton Hall. I think they have some guys who could score the basketball. I like their coach. I think that they'll get to play their style more than Arkansas. I think Seton Hall will dictate this game, and I like Seton Hall.
I'm okay backing you if you feel really good about it.
I would not. I don't feel that great about that many of the 8-9s.
All right.
Minnesota, Middle Tennessee, 5-12 matchup. This is a Thursday game. It tips off at 4 o'clock. Middle Tennessee has moved to the favorite. They are now -1.
I wanted to like Middle Tennessee, but I hate the love that they're getting. I hate that they're now the favorite. I don't think Minnesota's that good. They had a good run to end the year. You know what? I'm going to talk myself into it, even though I hate going against this. I just feel like Middle Tennessee State's a better team. I think they have better guards, and I think in this situation they're going to get up to play.
This was my third favorite matchup. I do like Middle Tennessee. I didn't know that they had become the favorite, but
I know.
Official.
When is this game?
This is a Thursday game at 4 o'clock.
Can we star this and we'll talk tomorrow around noon or whatever tip off is? I want to see where the line ends.
We can do that.
I think there'll be a huge windfall of money at the end or the middle of the day tomorrow, and we'll see where the line goes.
I'm with you. Moving along in the bracket, the 4-13 is Butler Winthrop. This is a Thursday game, early tip at 1:30. Butler is -11.
A little high for my liking. I was hoping for like an 8.5 type of line. I don't love it, but Butler gets every team to play the way they want. It almost doesn't matter. Winthrop likes to run and gun, and Butler's not going to allow that. I like it somewhere right in the line, that 8 to 12 range, but I lean Butler, no official.
Yeah, I lean Winthrop just because Butler doesn't score a ton.
Yeah.
I agree with you, though. They are going to get Winthrop to play their style. And I think Butler can make a little noise and go 2 rounds. I don't know if they can beat Carolina, but it would be an interesting matchup.
I agree. It's not as exciting as the other matchups we've already said we'd like to see. You know, I actually think Winthrop might be a tougher matchup than Minnesota would be. I think Butler cruises to Carolina. And it will be interesting to see if they do play Carolina, does Carolina get frustrated and start to turn it over against them?
Yeah, that would be a great matchup to see.
And Roy would be getting outclassed in every coaching department. So I would love to see him get rattled in a game like that.
To the bottom half of the bracket, 6th seed Cincinnati, they will get Kansas State, who beat Wake Forest last night. Cincinnati is -3. This is a Friday 7:27 tip, and this is in Jacksonville.
No like in this game at all. I've always liked Cincinnati's coach, but they seem to underwhelm every year in the tournament. K-State looked pretty good last night, but they've been up and down all year. I can't pick a side in this one.
I don't trust Kansas State, but I do like what they did last night. That would be my only reason for leaning to them.
Right.
But don't have a side. The 3-14 is Friday night, 9:55. UCLA -18 against Kent State.
This is another one of the higher lines that I actually kind of like. UCLA will probably put up 100 in this game. Kent State does not shoot a lot of threes, so against a team that lights it up, I think these smaller teams need to make threes. I think this one could get ugly.
I would like to star this one and see if this line moves, because I do like UCLA in this game. Do you think it falls under 18, though?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure where this line is going to go. I agree with you. We should see if we can get another point out of this one.
I agree.
UCLA, I already said, they played zero defense, but Kent State isn't really a team with a style that can take advantage of that.
Any concern of Lonzo Ball in his first NCAA tournament game?
No, I actually think I like it. I think he's going to put on a show.
Yeah, UCLA seems like the type of team that's going to beat up on bad teams and struggle with good teams to me.
Yeah, that's to your point about Lonzo Ball. I kind of like him in a game like this, even though it's his first one. I worry more about him if they play Kentucky in a big stage like that as his first big primetime tournament game.
7-10, very interesting matchup. One of the teams that I thought was underseeded. Wichita State, the 10 seed, they are a 6-point favorite over Dayton. 7-10 Friday night, and this game is in Indianapolis.
It's a big line, and obviously the public is on Wichita State. So I was tempted by Dayton, but I think Wichita's got something to prove now. I think they want to not only beat Dayton, I think they want a shot at Kentucky. So no play, but I lean Wichita State. That's
exactly what I would have said. Especially the point about Dayton. I want to like them because everybody's on Wichita, but I think they got slapped in the face with this seeding. And Greg Marshall, I think, is one of, if not the best coach in the tournament.
I think we said the same thing this day last year. Mike Bray, Greg Marshall, two most underrated coaches in the land.
Yeah, and I would love to see Wichita State kick Kentucky on Sunday.
Yeah, yep, me too.
And that rounds out the 2:15 in the tournament. Kentucky is a Friday night game against Northern Kentucky in Indianapolis. This is a 9:40 game. Kentucky minus 20.
I have never heard of North Kentucky before, so I can't imagine that Calipari's going to let his kids come out sluggish for an in-state rivalry game. Kentucky is a team that I don't like. I haven't liked what I've seen all year. This is not a typical Calipari gets them to start gelling at the end of the year type team. But there's no way I want part of Northern Kentucky plus 20 against those athletes.
Nah, I feel the same way. Do you think Calipari's feeling any kind of pressure?
I don't know. I think the last month has kind of taken pressure off of this team. I'm not sure expectations are that high right now.
Yeah, true. Who do you have coming out of this region?
Unfortunately, I have Roy Boy coming out.
Right, we both have Carolina. So your Final Four is Carolina, Kansas, Notre Dame, Duke?
Yep.
Who plays for it and who wins it?
I have the old traditional guard, Duke, Kansas, and I'm going to say Coach K wins it and rides off.
Wow, that's interesting. What if he does win it? Do you think that there is a probability he rides off?
Maybe not a probability. I think it's a possibility, though. He's getting up there. He's got assistants that have been, kind of being groomed. They've been waiting. The back surgery. I think we're getting close to the time. So if he wins it, why not?
I have Arizona beating Villanova, Louisville beating Carolina, and Arizona cutting the nets down.
Wow. You and Tundra picking Arizona.
Well, now I might have to change it for the challenge.
I love that I am the only one that has East Coast bias.
I wanted to pick Villanova. I don't think they're deep enough.
No, so did I, actually. I would love the story. I love Chris Jenkins. I love the program, but it's tough to go back-to-back.
Yeah, it is. So we'll tweet out all the officials. A couple that we have starred that we'll make a decision on. The only one that I have X'd for us to talk about was South Carolina minus the 1.5 or the under 145.5. I think I lean just the minus 1.5 right now and see what happens with that over under.
Yeah, we can certainly. I'm good with the 1.5 right now. Or if you want to see if we can get it under that, we can certainly wait.
All right, we will do that. That is a Friday game, and that's late Friday, so we do have time.
Yeah, I even if it moves up a little bit to 2 or 2.5, I can't imagine that changes our mind too much. If we can get it out of pick 'em, all the better.
There you have it. Second annual March Madness breakdown. Last year we went 6-2 in the tournament. We certainly have a lot more plays here on the first two rounds. But let's go on a run here.
I love the thinking. I like that we're going heavy in the first round.
Anything else on the tournament?
No. Excellent host job by you today.
Great job by you, and let's enjoy some of the best days of the year.
Agreed. Great underrated sports weekend coming up. Enjoy it.
Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
See you, bud.